Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to talk about how someone with Ethiopian origins ended up being the father of modern Russian literature and also one of the greatest poets of all time. Now, in early 17th century, a young boy was captured in Ethiopia by the Ottoman soldiers. Now, at this time, the Ottomans used to have soldiers that used to do some operations in the Horn of Africa, and they capture this young man. And this young man, it is said that his father used to be somebody of means, sort of. He used to have a lot of cattle and seems like he used to have some power in the area where they lived, but then he passed on. And when he passed on, that's when the Ottoman soldiers came and captured this young man and they took him into captivity. Now, these soldiers took him to Constantinople. That is a city we know today as Istanbul. Now, this was the seat of the Ottoman Empire, and this boy became, we can say, a servant of the person who ruled the Ottoman Empire then, Sultan Ahmed III, and he stayed there not very long. Seems like he stayed there for maybe 2-3 years. And then there was this ambassador, the Russian ambassador to the Ottoman Empire. His name was Sava Vladislavich Ragusinsky. This guy was looking for a black slave that he was going to take to Russia for the king, who was Peter the Great. Now, during this time in Europe, seems like it used to be a symbol of prestige to have a black servant within the palace. So Peter the Great needed one of such servants, and this ambassador was tasked with looking for one such servant. And of course, because the Ottomans had a lot of campaigns going on in Africa, they were likely to be the people who could get you a black servant. And so this boy was bought from Ahmed III, maybe bought, or maybe Sultan Ahmed III decided to give him as a gift to the Emperor of Russia or the King of Russia. And so the boy found his way to Russia. Now, it is said that Peter the Great ended up liking this boy so much, and at some point he stopped treating him as a servant at the palace and he started treating him as his own son. And in fact, this boy would accompany him almost everywhere he went. And one of the reasons he ended up liking this boy so much is because this boy was so intelligent. When he grew up, the king decided to send him to France to study, and he goes to France, he gets his education, and also while in France he enrolls at a military academy and he studies some military strategy, especially the area of technology, of course, military technology. And he goes back to Russia, and the monarchy, who at this point was Elizabeth, decides to make him chief military engineer of the Russian army, and he was given the rank of general-in-chief. And he held this position, seems like, for a very long time. And he retired from the military at some point, and he became very wealthy. And he did marry. He married the first wife, and they had issues. She ended up cheating on him and having a child with another man. And then he married his second wife, with whom he ended up having 10 kids. Now, out of these 10 kids, there was a son who went by the name Osip. Now, Osip is the father of a daughter who went by the name Nadezhda. Now, Nadezhda is the mother of Alexander Pushkin. Alexander Pushkin is a name that is very well known in the world of literature. And in fact, is considered today to be the father of modern day Russian literature, and is considered to be one of the greatest poets to ever live. Alexander Pushkin published his first poem when he was around 15, but the poems that made him to be known were one, The Prisoner of the Caucasus, and The Fountain of Bakhchisarai. Now, he later on did many other poems, and he wrote a few books, not a few, but quite a number. He wrote poems like The Bronze Horseman and The Stone Guest, but one of his best known works is a first novel titled Eugene Onegin. Now, Alexander Pushkin, even though he ended up becoming so great, his end was not that great. And so in the end, he died in the hands of his wife's sister husband. The husband of his wife's sister ended up killing him, and he killed him because they were fighting over an allegation that this guy was having an affair with his wife. That's how he ended up dying. Now, at this time, maybe his work had not been acknowledged that much, but later on, of course, people came to realize how talented Alexander Pushkin was. And today is considered to be the father of modern Russian literature and one of the greatest poets to ever live. So that's how someone of Ethiopian origin ended up becoming the greatest poet and what many consider to be the father of modern Russian literature. Those are my random thoughts.